Welcome back, nerd campers. So this is the third video so far that I'm making about our session, just keeping them short to 10 minutes. This one's going to focus on transitioning from sort of independent choice, really informal book groups. So the whole first quarter, I like to just spend, really get the students used to choosing their own books and knowing what they like and feeling comfortable being the expert in their book and their own reading and doing a lot of conferring before we get into sort of a shared text book group. This way, I know some people like to do the shared text first. I understand that when you're modeling lots of things, but I'd rather start with students doing independent reading to know who they are as readers and have them really practice using their voice and building their confidence before we get into book groups. So as we're transitioning into shared text groups for the second quarter of the school year, we do lots of conversations about surveys about their interest of reading, unless I have a specific theme that I'm trying to work around. We rank preferences, we make schedules, usually try to keep the book groups to 3 weeks each with 3 meetings, a meeting for the first 100 pages, a meeting for the second 100 pages, and then a meeting for the ending. And this is where we include the parents in their preferences and giving them consent, and including students in their preferences and giving them voice and choice. And I like for the book groups to range from either me choosing the theme so that we can stretch students into different genres or text structures or subject matter, or students choosing the book groups, the book topics, and having a say in what they read. So it kind of just depends on your access to books. So this is the link to, and I shared this on Ethical ELA, to the selection document where they ranked the books that they wanted to read. So this is the books that I selected, contemporary issues in America. And I have like a little summary and sort of age appropriateness here, and then maybe some warnings, which just kind of gets into a little bit of soft censorship, but some things from Common Sense Media. So here, so everyone is really clear on what the options are. And I asked the students to rank their interest. And then this is for the second round of book groups, contemporary global issues. I chose books. These were some that I chose, some that I had to go back and find options that were maybe a little bit more toward middle and less, so more grades 4 to 7 instead of 7 through 12. That's sort of the focus for the culture at my school. And here's some of the other options. And then it got down to here. So the students ranked it, and then they went to their parents where they could learn about the project and understand the board policy about supplemental materials, and has my name and the principal's name. And then here's the consent thing. So for the first round of books, it gives everyone an opportunity to say, that any of the books are acceptable, or if the parents don't want students to read a certain book, they can just put an X over any of the books. So if the parents put an X, I know not to give that student the book. And then also if there's a subject that the parents really want their students to read about, they can circle it as well. So it's just a way of giving them a place to communicate with me. And then as I'm making the book groups, I use this to guide my discussion or my choices. These are some of the different topics that you can make your book groups around, but I chose to do it based on a grant that I wrote. So on contemporary issues in America. So these were the books that we sort of curated with me, the librarian, the local bookstore, and then these were the contemporary books, global issues in America, global issues, sorry. So America issues, global issues. And this is the video that we've listened to a little bit in class that you have access to on the blog. And kind of thinking about why this was successful. So in this situation, the students did choose different roles for their job. So each reader was still, like in the other example, was the expert in the area, and they had the responsibility to sort of illuminate some aspect of the story. They had a say in the books that they read, and they had a say in the academic focus. We read in class, they conferred with me in class, we researched subjects in the book in class. Everyone prepared the role, so everyone had a unique contribution, and then I used a timer to make sure everyone had time to speak. So that was kind of time management. And of course, snacks. So these were the different jobs that I'm going to share the link to this for you on ethical ELA. And these are the different Common Core state standards and focus of each job. So if the student is doing one of the jobs, then they benefit from being the expert, but everyone else in the group benefits from the discussion and sort of the analysis that it leads to. So in our session at NerdCamp, we listened to the word connotator, and they spent a good deal of time really unpacking the meaning of ominous and the tone of ominous. So even the word connotator sort of led that discussion. Everyone from the group benefited from it. This is what I have up during the discussion. So sort of, I think this is a 5-minute countdown per job. We had 40-minute classes, roughly 5 people in every group. And then this was sort of the guide if they were posing the question, and I encouraged them to use these phrases as they were responding. And then here's just a click through some of the completed documents. These are all for refugee, Elmgratz refugee. And then this page here, this is the research. So when the students did some research on refugees, you can see that they're documenting some facts about the Syrian refugees here based on a news article. And sorry, it's kind of hidden behind there. But that's also in the document on ethical ELA, where you can see how students sort of used this as a guide to reading news articles, to sort of like a fake news thing, or to combat from fake news. And then after the group, we didn't always have time to do this discussion. Sometimes we did it the next day. So if we had our book group on Thursday, then on Friday, we might make time for students to listen to their book group and then assess the group experience. And maybe they would have a discussion or do some little writing on their reflection of their group experience. So you could just see, like, this was the global issues book, and this was the American issues book, and this was the global issues book. And you can see how I just sort of plotted people, and this is how I made the groups based on their preferences. I put all the books up here, and then I looked through their forms, their ranking forms, to try to plot people to get their top 1, 2, or 3 preferences for the group. So on the book group day, we had a folder leader. When we first started the book groups, we had a folder leader. People decided on the jobs. They decided on snacks. They read the back and inside covers together. They read the first 2 pages and made sure that they understood the point of view and the genre. And then they read silently. And so this is how we just sort of launched our book groups once we had the groups assigned. We had the pages due Wednesday night and the book groups on Thursday. So usually they would have like the weekend and then plus the class time during the week. We either recorded the discussions on this digital device or used Screencastify. And this is sort of in the folder, we would have like the completed job sheets here. And then I made like a tracking form for the group leader to sort of like track the follow-up phrases or when they use text evidence, whatever we were focusing on during that time. And so during class, we just occasionally kind of took a break and made sure everyone knew this information, probably after reading the first few days, to make sure everyone knew kind of the basic details of the plot. And when we had research days, these were some suggestions. So I hope that you give book groups a try, and here's some really great reasons to consider it. I'll have all